Forward to hear. All right. Well, let's get started. So yeah, this whole chat tonight from Tiffany was all on marketing and how you come across people, how you can serve people, how our language is. And I think it's such an important topic because it's like the crux of our business, right? If we can't serve people well, and if we don't come across and communicate to people well, you're really not going to do well in this kind of business, right? And because you are the business, the product's the business, but really you are the business, and what you're selling is yourself, really, and your service to them. Some people might randomly do an offshoot order, and buy like a kit or one oil off of someone who's just selling because they want an oil. But if you want residual income and you actually want to grow a business, you need to provide service, right? And that's really what we're going for. And that's why people reactivate under our group all the time. Why? Because we give service, we give help, we give a community, which is way different than, like I was on my nutritionist group and someone said, oh, I want to get started with doTERRA. Anybody know of anyone who sells doTERRA? And it just made me feel so good because I had multiple people in that group say, you should go to Melody. She is, gives such amazing service, and she will help you so much. And she's so knowledgeable. And I was like, I love that. Whereas other people on there is like, I sell, I'll DM you. And it's just like, that's so, in a sense, salesy, right? Like, and what does that come across? Like, I sell, and it's just like, well, no, like, what do you, and I love when of course, other people talk and recommend you. And how do you get that? But like, the person one of the people that recommended me, I have given a lot of time and energy to, so it's lovely that it came across to you that had great service, right? But that takes time and energy, but you can see how it really like gives you back to over and over again. So that was a fun one this week. So she started off by saying, serve more, sell more. And I think that literally should be like a mantra to us. Like, I'll make the story short because I just made Beth hear it, but because we were talking beforehand. But today was a perfect example for me on serve more, sell. Did you say something, Beth? Oh, no?
I said it was good, so it's okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. So my story is I've had a lady going back and forth on Instagram with me over getting the Home Essentials kit. Last month she wanted it, never heard from her. It was like, afterwards. And then she wrote, I'm so sorry I didn't get back to you. Like, I feel so flaky. I'm like, oh, no worries at all. I'm here whenever you want. This month it is 20% off though. And she's like, oh, my husband's just having a hard time with cost. I'm like, no worries, whatever. And then I gave her options, but then she literally kept going back and saying that she really wanted the whole kit. She's like, I'm going to figure out a way to do it. And I'm like, awesome. Well, whenever you need. And so, because I was like, you could just get the BOGO. And so yesterday, she's like, my kids are so sick. I'm so sick. Like, I have to get frankincense and Melissa, she says. Or how do I get frankincense and Melissa? And I'm like, well, to be honest, like, what you really should do is get the Home Essentials kit that has oregano and frankincense. I went over the whole pricing. It's 20% off. I said, I'll give you the gel caps, which have, Melissa in them and stuff like that. And then I was like, are you local to me? And I didn't think she'd say yes. And she's like, yes. And that was this morning when I'm racing to go to work. Literally, Donovan crapped all over himself, poured dirt in the driveway. Like, it was just like that kind of morning. I was getting late to work. And this lady, I'm Instagramming her, and she's like, yeah, I'm in Lake Forest. And I knew she's saying, like, my kids are deathly sick. I really need something. And she's like, okay, I do want to get the kit. And not that I wouldn't have done it without the kit. I don't sample a lot, but I literally was like, you know what? I'm going to make you a roller bottle with everything in it that you need. I'm going to give you the gel caps, and I'm going to make you an Epsom salt detox bath. Like, I literally went above and beyond, right? So I'm literally making the Epsom salt bath, like making the roller bottles. I'm trying to race out the house. I put it on my porch. She comes and picks it up when I'm gone. And then she screenshots and says, okay, is this the kit? And I'm like, yes, that's the kit. And then no order went through. Then 3 hours later, I'm like, oh, did you have any issues with the website? And then she literally was like, oh, thank you so much for the stuff. My husband literally is just so like isn't a believer in this, and he's just like giving me such a hard time on the order. I know I'll eventually get him to let me do it, but I couldn't do it today. And in that moment, it's like, what do I want to give off to that person, right? service, serve more, sell more. Like I truly have to believe. And if the sale doesn't happen, I still would rather serve, right? But I really believe like I'm giving her this. And what if she turned into a lifelong customer, a person that hosted a class, her kids got all better and her husband was a believer? Like, what am I giving? So I just give that story to show that like abundance and serving is like what people want and they desire. And when she's ready to buy it, she's not going to buy it from somebody else. She's going to come back and she's going to buy it from me when she's ready. I wanted it today, but that's okay. Maybe I want it another month when I'm trying to hit a rank. But yeah, I just gave that story to be like, otherwise, what was my main goal in that is I wanted to come across as I didn't want a sale. I actually wanted to serve her and help her use essential oils. And I feel like that meant a lot. So that was my little, example of today, how I tried to put the serving over selling, right? Okay, that was a lot of talking, so we'll move on. But hopefully that example connected with a couple of you guys. And then Beth might want to talk on this point. We both love this quote from Zig Ziglar. When you help enough people get what they want, we get what we want. So I'll let Beth take it over.
Yeah, I love that one. And I like how it says enough people, because it's not saying like, if we help people get what they want, we'll get what we want. It says enough people. And I think sometimes we're thinking like, I'm not meeting my goals. Like I want to get to this thing. And sometimes it's just a numbers thing. Like it's reaching out to enough people. It's getting enough people, to be able to come alongside and help them and that kind of thing. And I think really once that ball starts rolling, I mean, I can't even tell you guys like how different my business is now than it was even 6 months ago, like just the momentum. And I think that when you hear that quote, I don't think the word enough stands out as like being the main theme, but I feel like if you take enough out, it changes. And it says just when we help people get what they want, we get what we want. And I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think it's a quantity thing. Like we have to help enough people get what they want to really get where we want to go. I mean, if you only want to get to Premier, then maybe that enough doesn't matter. But if you really want to get higher up in this business and you want to make a solid income and you want to really make a difference in the world and all that, it's a quantity thing. And that really means you have to stick it out and keep serving people. Even when sometimes you're not getting a lot in return, like Melody, like she could do that because that wasn't her only customer. If that was her only customer, it would be really hard to keep, or potential customer, it would be really hard to keep giving that lady free stuff and not get anything, in return. But when you're doing that for enough people, you'll have that person that you gave free stuff to 3 months ago that finally comes back around and, wants to buy a kit, or a person that you've been serving for a year as a customer decides to finally host a class, or sends, introduces you to their boss who wants to, integrate essential oils into their business or whatever it might be. And so when you're doing that with enough different people, then you'll start to have doors open up, and you'll have other doors that close, but you'll have enough that open up that your business can really grow. So I love that quote. And then it also, the focus is just on the people that you're serving, and that it's got to start with the people. I mean, I haven't read that book yet, but the Leaders Eat Last, but, I get that same concept. It's like when you're serving people, you're serving yourself last, but when you do that, you'll end up getting those things that you want. When you start with what you want, then nobody wants what you're selling, like, because all they see is somebody who's looking at them as a dollar sign. I took my daughter to the orthodontist today, and of course I know it's going to cost me a fortune to have, braces and everything. And it's a free consultation. They took their time. They were so nice. And Ruby came home so excited. She doesn't have to get braces for at least like a year or two, so that's really good news. And she got a free t-shirt. She got pictures of herself, which she thought were great. And they gave her and Fiona Cold Stone gift card. We didn't pay anything. I thought, and then I was thinking like, wow, this is so cool. They give us all this free stuff. And then I thought, no. They didn't just give us free stuff. We're going to be paying thousands of dollars for braces. But when we left, we were happy. Like, I was happy because I don't have to start with this whole thing yet. Ruby was happy and Fiona was happy, even though we were there for an hour. They got free ice cream. literally a $5 gift card. But like everybody left feeling good, you know? And I think that makes a big difference. When you spend that time or that money up front, the people feel cared for, and then they're going to be much more likely to spend the money later on and get that thing from you. But when you come first, and you know, if they'd come first with the dollar signs, like this is how much it's going to cost or whatever, I would have been like, I don't know about this, you know, kind of thing. So it's interesting, like in the grand scheme, you know, that $15 or whatever they spent on us today, you know, wasn't very much, but, and in the time, obviously they didn't get paid for that, but in the long run, they know, I mean, it's smart business. Like they know they're going to make lots of money off of us. So it's totally worth it. So yeah, love that quote.
And then I was telling Beth how I really like this quote when you think about it for the business. So there's two ways you can think about it. You can think about it in relationship to customers. When you get enough people what they want, you'll get what you want. And then, to be honest, it really connects with me about the business. Because when I'm sitting with my entire team, I can get in the mentality where I am just like, I'm going to hit my ranks. I'm going to do it. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to get it. And I can force these ranks to happen. And I've done that before. And, you know, although like in some scenarios, yes, it did get me more income in some ways. And sometimes I wish maybe at that point in my life, I didn't really need that income so bad. And then I could have done it in a different way and worked with different people. And it would have worked out a lot better, right? Because now I'm having to backtrack in some ways. But I'm saying that really when I can help the people who really want it, right? Who are doing the work but just need the extra help. And maybe it's not making me hit my goal for a while, but those are the ones that I want to run with long term. If I can help them grow their business, that is like gold, right? That is money right there. That's really what it is I just need to help people. And that's why for me personally, when I was in the leadership club, or not the leadership club, when I was at the leaders retreat for doTERRA last year, and in the diamond group, they had the highest paid lady, the rank. She was double presidential diamond. Loved her, right? And she said to the group, she's like, well, I just got to say, diamond is the worst rank. And she's like, don't tell all the other ranks, you know, but she's like, now let me say this right. She's like, you're doing the most amount of work for really good pay, but you are doing still so much work, right? Because when you have people at silver, no one's making enough money for the most part where they want to take it full-time energy. Some people, that's not enough, right? But in that room when I sat there, I had already in my mind decided, I'm not going to try to go for blue diamond. When I hit diamond, I'm going to put the brakes on my craziness of whatever and sort of just maintain, right? Whatever that was in my mind. I'm going to maintain. Diamond's amazing. I don't need to go above, whatever. And then when I sat in there, I did really feel like that because I felt like the people underneath me, team-wise, people were not thrilled with the paychecks at elite and silver if they were going to have to stop there, right? But if I could get some of those elites to premier, that was what they really needed income-wise, right? Everyone has different goals. Not everyone's goal is to hit silver, you know, gold, platinum, diamond, right? That isn't. So you want to know what people's goals are. And so, but I knew like, especially when they added their empowerment bonus of 150, premier was, at least for a lot of people, that was their goal, right? That got them the income they needed. And then for the people that were really going for it, they needed to hit gold. So I literally had to do a mind adjustment and say, Melody, you have to go in and do another year of just as much work as you did last year. And that was at some points a little hard for me because I worked so hard. I mean, really crazy for that year and a half. To a little bit of the insanity part. But, you know, I was like, no, I need to help people get to where they want because I know it will help me to get to what I want, which is time freedom, financial freedom, and just not feeling like I have to scrounge at every little corner all the times to make it always happen, right? And so I have seen just within my business this last year of putting in that consistent work another year in. And I mean, it's a joke. I'm not even working that many years and it's like an amazing salary, but you know what I mean? Like, so for me to even say that, it is a joke because most jobs you have to work like 20 years, right? To say I could double my salary again. But but really to think like, if I can just help other people hit the ranks that they need to so that they can lead for their careers, or they can get some babysitters help, or whatever that is, I'm going to focus on that. And if that always doesn't get you to the highest rank right away, because sometimes it doesn't, right? Say you're trying to build for silver, but you really need to build out these 2 legs first and get them solidified before you start a 3rd leg. You know what? Before you move on to a 3rd leg, help solidify those first 2 people. Get them off the ground and get them running. Because if you just move on to the next person without really solidifying, those people will drop off. They will not have enough to keep them going. And I've seen that happen a lot. So really be there for those people that you're really trying to build out, and give them the very best care and service, just as much or more than you would for any customer to get a sale. Like, these are your number 1 people you should, in a sense, be selling to, is the people that you want to do the business with, right? And sometimes we find like we're too busy because we're trying to make a sale, in a sense. But I'm telling you, if you can give service to the people that are doing the business for you the best, that is the best time investment out of anything, right? And so really think about that for when you do the business, and then also the customer service. Really that line is just such an amazing one. When we help enough people get what they want, we will get what we want. And so I don't know, does that connect with you guys? And have you seen that like play out in any part of your business, or with your customers, or even maybe with, the business builders that you do have right now?
I think I don't know. I know we're all kind of at different spots in our business, but so I've hit Volumize, like hit Premiere. I just have to I have to place it where it needs to go. So, one thing that I've sort of been wrestling with, like I have one builder that I guess I could say I recruited. I have 2 that Beth put under me on this other leg. And so they're both pretty new. And the one builder that, I recruited, she's hosted 1 class. She has another one on the books. I think she's like a steady person, but I know she's working nights as a nurse. And she even told me, she's like, I feel really bad. Like, I wanted to do Success Academy, but I know I can't commit to it the way I want to right now until my schedule changes. So there's a part of me that's like, well, do I get her to a solid elite before I move on? Like, do you try and match some of their effort? Like, if they're doing it, but they're maybe not
I would say, for her, because you told me a little bit of her backstory already, to me, she sounds like a solid person. If she's working another job and still trying to host class and actually hosting the class, that's someone that personally, for me, I would say wow, you are a hard worker. You're working a full-time job and you're still doing this. And you're even being upfront with me about what you can and can't do.
Totally.
So in my mind, I just have to say, if I can get someone to say, oh my gosh, it's just like for me when I was working at the bakery. When I started seeing real money coming in, it changed my mindset, right?
Sure.
I'm not going to change Tune Fuel's mindset on it if they have a full-time job, unless they see some kind of income coming in.
Sure.
So to be honest, I would build into a person like that if they were doing the activity like that. One class a month to me shows, when they have a full-time job, at least definitely shows commitment,
Sure. I guess the only thing is to me, elite is no money. Do you know what I mean? So,
well, it is no money, but it would pay for her order and things like that. And, she's going to see jumps in the paycheck, right? And you got to get her to that somehow, because you don't know if what you put underneath her, you put elite volume, but what if you start putting consistent people's orders and then someone that wants to host a class?
Sure.
And then, you don't know what that will turn into volume-wise, right?
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I would say, it's all risky. I don't know if anybody else wants to jump in. I've definitely had scenarios where I built out legs and I'm like, crap, I wish I hadn't, right?
Right.
But, for someone who has a full-time job and is still teaching classes and hosting them, I think that's pretty good. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
Oh, I just throw in there that, it depends on what your goals are. I think for you, Lauren, you want to hit silver so you can go to leadership. In which case, your volume may dip back down when you get into January because it's a lower month. But
it will for everybody.
Yeah. So if you can push and get to silver, like she may be a weaker elite, come January, but you still met your goal by getting to leadership. So I think the other thing I would say is I'm more concerned about making sure people are covering their LRP if I know that finances are a big issue. So for somebody who has a full-time job and can afford, doing $100 LRP every month, it's a little bit less of a concern than someone who's like, I really want to do this business and I really need to make money because I'm a single mom and I don't have a lot of income. And you know what I mean? In which case they're serious about the business and they're putting the time in, but they need to be making money ASAP or they're going to have to stop doing their LRP and they're out for the business. So I think it's kind of a case by case basis a little bit. And you're going to have pluses and minuses either way, because I've been in the spot where it's like, you've got, every month you're trying to pour volume in because you're like, really, that's not a solid leg. Like it just needs so much volume every month. And sometimes you barely get to that rank and then you're kind of like back for a month or two until you can, but it kind of just depends. You end up with what you end up with, I guess, depending on what you do.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to fight the mindset of like what you guys are talking about, like help other people get what they want. They'll help you get, long term, but short term, I have some life changes, coming up and stuff. And so, I mean, that's just like,
well, I think she aligns for your short and long-term goals.
Sure.
Because short-term, if you build her out to elite, that's hit your goal, right?
Right.
And then long-term, if she goes for it, that's awesome. It hit your short-term and you hit your long-term goal. Because another thing that you could do if you want to cover your bases is you put someone underneath her that you either know would get kicked out of their spot and be okay with it, or a ghost leg, and you put all your personal volume under that person that's right underneath her. Then that gets her to elite, right? Because you put all the volume under her, but all your volume is still under a different person under her. So
under, say, a ghost leg or
right. So say she's right here and she's the one hitting elite, that's helping her. But if you put someone right here and you put all the volume here, rather than scattering it everywhere,
right?
If you put it all under one other person and she becomes flaky and doesn't do it anymore, well, you saved your butt because now you have this person that you can maybe go the distance with.
Gotcha.
So that's what I do sometimes with people is, okay, this person I have to get to hit this rank for me to hit diamond every single month. So I have another person under here and I'm putting all my volume under that person because that's really the person that I'll probably go with long term, because this one probably isn't going to do it. I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. So I don't want to put the volume everywhere. I'm not going to build them out to premier, right? So what I would do is I would build out one leg. I wouldn't sign it over to them until I decide I wanted to when I went to hit gold, right? But by doing that, you've now structured yourself to help you hit gold in the future because you gave that person a leg that maybe you'd sign over.
Sure.
Maybe. Or if they suck, you go with that person right there and then lead that person. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I would do because then you've got two options.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's good. I mean, that leg at one point actually hit elite already. It just hasn't been, consistent. So obviously that doesn't,
Yeah. Well, then I would build, if your goal is silver, then I would build out whatever third leg you need to get to elite. You need to build that one out. You just have to look at your volume every month, right? So if your immediate goal is I want to go to leadership, then you just got to put the volume where you got to put the volume to hit that, And sometimes you can look back in the past months and see an average, right?
Right.
You can look back and see, okay, the last 2 months, what did that leg hit? And then you can make a better educated guess of I probably should put my new signups under this leg rather than this leg because they've always had a higher volume every month.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think so. One other thing is, so there's another girl on that same leg that I've been thinking that was really helpful. Thank you. That I've been thinking I actually think she might be good at doing the business. At the very beginning, she expressed interest. She's super passionate about natural health. She's a nurse. They have a lot of connections, all that sort of stuff. But I'm talking a lot right now, but she's I can see how maybe personality wise it might not be the best fit. And so do you ever like, I guess, identify, like, we were talking just the other day and I was gonna just say, hey, you know, like just kind of bring it up. And literally we got to the end of the conversation. I hadn't even gotten 2 words in edgewise. And she talked for like an hour straight and then like showed up and was like, okay, well, I'm at my friend's house and I got to go, but you're doing okay, right? You're good. Okay. And then I just sort of took it as like, okay, I think it's not the right fit.
Yeah.
Or when you're new, do you not really have, you know,
I mean, I'd put her probably on a spot on my team where it would get me some volume, maybe be a second leg for underneath the premier. And maybe she connects with certain people in her family and friends. And maybe she's a pushier personality. And sometimes that gets sales, to be honest, right?
Right.
Is it amazing long-term? Probably not. But would it make that leg premier? Or maybe elite, you know, when you want to go hit platinum, you know what I mean? That would get your main person a silver. So I would put that person, if they're interested in hosting classes and bringing in volume, in that kind of spot. Maybe 3 levels down on your team where it could be a build or share, but I'm not putting all my eggs in your basket and I won't build underneath you. But I will support you in anything you need me to support you in, like that.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to next point. That was all good stuff. Okay. Beth and I both liked this. So, I'll go through this one quick and then we'll go to the next one. But, you know, when she was saying like, we're all in sales. We need to be okay with that. Instead of, I'm in sales, keep in your mind, I'm a solutions provider. And that might not be like the best terminology in your brain. You're like, oh, that sounds corny. But in a sense, you are literally providing solutions for people. So today, my example of helping the lady was a perfect example. Am I in sales? No. What am I doing? I'm providing a solution. She was really sick. She's literally freaking out for her kids. What am I doing? I'm helping a solution for her health, right? Same thing. I have a customer, no joke. She probably texts me 10 times a day. A little bit annoyed. I did not act like that on the texting though. And, her daughter's sick and has croup. So I literally, her little bit of sales each month, probably my time is way more valuable than the 20 text messages. So I am trying to point her in the group of direction of asking on Instagram. But nonetheless, I am a solution.
Gently, but consistently.
I am a solutions provider because clearly I'm not coming off salesy to her because I never talk about a sale, basically. I'm just answering all of her medical questions. So I do not feel salesy in the least bit. But that is a good one. Just to remember, like really realistically, we are not salespeople. The most of the time, all you're going to be doing is helping people nonstop. That is called help and providing solutions. That is not being salesy whatsoever. But then even if you are like weirded out by sales, think about how I make 10,000 sales with my kids every single day. I'm negotiating Donovan to have this versus me getting this, or in marriage and dating and all of that kind of stuff. So you just want to ask, what do you solve for other people? And how does your product contribute to the life of others? And I think our product is so easy. Like if I was trying to sell like lip sense or whatever, like the lip gloss that stays on your lips forever or whatever, I would have a little trouble, yes, I provide long-lasting lip stains, you know what I mean? Like that would be a little bit hard for me to really get behind, But like our product is so amazing and so easy to answer those core questions, which then make you feel completely not salesy and completely like you are helping people. And this is like an amazing thing, and you can be proud of it and all of that. And then Tiffany talked about, don't talk about the airplane, talk about the destination. And how many of us talk about the airplane? Like, oh, buy this kit, buy this whatever, and use this oregano oil. No, talk about what that's providing. Oh, you want to feel empowered as a mom. You don't want to feel like, you're freaking out and running to urgent care at the drop of a hat when your kid has a fever. You want that feeling of, oh, I can just go grab my lavender and peppermint and roll on a spine. And I'm feeling great and I don't have to worry about that. That's what you're selling, right? Or, oh, you have chronic pain. I'm selling, oh, you're living a pain-free life. Or, not, on constant medication. I'm not selling Deep Blue, something like that. I'm not selling a pill. I'm selling what that experience will lead to and what a lifestyle. I mean, when you think of even like the professional bloggers or whatever, and they're literally like, photo after photo of them in their skinny bodies and their clothes, what are they selling? They're selling a lifestyle. They're selling what you want, right? So we need to remember, like, you are selling this idea of what natural health is like and why people want it,
I was listening to the Whole Fit podcast on my way home from work. And she said, she was talking about like, how, there's a lot of like, basically a lot of service that goes in before you ever hit success. Kind of like what you were saying, how like with your bakery, you blog, and like, like just give, but she was saying, show up to serve. I'm probably going to butcher it, but she said, show up to serve the person you once were that you want to help. And I thought that was really good. Like she's like, if you're a mom that like, like you were saying, like wants to feel like, okay, I can take care of my kids' health and I feel good about what I'm putting on their bodies or whatever. But I used to feel so overwhelmed and didn't know and scared or, didn't feel like I had another option. Like that's who you should show up to serve.
Yeah.
Anyways, that sort of stuck out to me.
I love her. I mean, that's perfect, right? Like put yourself in that person's shoes when you're trying to make a sale in a sense, right?
Right.
How would you want it to be approached? Sold to right away without any information, any kind of support, any kind of education, right? Any kind of like, you're going to love our community. Now, if I was a mom and feeling hopeless, which I did back in the day, when Carly like was like, oh, these oils will help you feel this. That's what got me, and not feel, but your kid's fever. I mean, literally that's all she had to say, or, a cough or whatever. Like I was like, sure, that's what I want. I want something natural that actually works, and I don't have to be like, oh my gosh, what's the ingredients and, antibiotics and all these things. And that's what sold me on it. I love that. That's awesome, Laura. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Let's see. I'll have Beth talk about this next one. Okay. What are the core feelings you want others to feel when they interact with you or your business? You want to take that one, Beth?
Sure. I mean, I love this because I feel like so many times, we're telling people features and benefits, but people don't buy on features and benefits.
Yeah.
They compare, they consider, but they don't buy. Like, and I think sometimes that's where people end up going round and round, and they keep going like, I'm interested in the kit, but they don't go for it because their feelings aren't being accessed. Like they aren't emotional about it. They're just like considering and reviewing and going like, what's the price and this and that. And I think when we can sort of come across not only in the way that we approach people and a sale and exude the right feelings that are going to make them feel cared for, and that you're providing good service and that you're trustworthy and those kinds of things, but also that you're accessing the emotions that they want to feel too, and that you're coming across in a way that's going to say like, or for them to be able to say like, yeah, not only do I want to buy from this person, but I do want to buy this product. And I think when we were saying last week about what was that quote, that people want to buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
And I think so thinking about that, when we're like, how are we coming across to people, like what feelings are we exuding and then also creating in that person that we're talking to? So are we creating trust? Like, do people believe what we're saying? Like, or is something off? Like, I think when we, when we don't trust ourselves and we come across as like, we're worried what people are going to think, really that's because we're not trusting ourselves and what we're saying. And so then how do we expect other people to trust us, And I think, so thinking about like, how do you want to come across? Like, you want to come across as warm or caring or trustworthy or whatever, and that you're going to sort of create those feelings where people go, yeah, like, I trust this person. Like, I want to buy this thing from them, or I like them, or that was fun. Like, I think sometimes too, like, you have an event and like, maybe your goal is just to have fun. Like, you're just going to have fun making stuff. Because I feel like we could apply this to every activity that we do. Like in this social media post, like, what feelings do I want to come across here? Like, is this like a really serious post about a severe medical condition? And like, or is it a lighthearted, like, you know, this is how I converted my husband to essential oils or whatever. And I think some of that too is just having like a consistent voice of, you know, having those same, everybody's going to come across differently to people. And what might attract somebody to Melody might be different than what attracts somebody to me, you know, and it's like we have different personalities. Some of us are really, you know, out there and bold and, you know, overwhelming personalities or dramatic or passionate or whatever. And then other people are just more mellow, and that's okay. So I'm curious, like, did you guys think about that? Or as I'm talking now, like, what feelings, you know, do you sort of want to come across? Tiffany talked about like her brand and like her logo and that kind of thing. And I think it can carry through like your social media posts and all that. But like, just specifically, like when we're talking to people, like what feelings do we want them to have about us and what we're saying?
I have a question, actually, just what you're talking about. So I just started like Lauren my own Instagram account just for oils, but I'm still kind of doing both on my personal and my oil account. And some of the feedback that I've got from people, even current customers, is they say, well, how do you know how to do all those blends? Or how do you know how many drops? And so it makes me feel like I'm not doing a good job, maybe taking a step back, starting from the beginning. Maybe I'm jumping in the middle too much, or jumping in at almost the end too much, where I feel like I'm being concise and consistent, or maybe I'm doing it in a rush, like in between a million things I'm doing throughout the day. But I also don't want to come across confusing to people, even that people that have used oils for a little while, but maybe haven't gotten like super into it, like making their own roller bottles and things like that. So I know I definitely don't want to be confusing, but at the same time, I don't want to go always back to basics kind of thing. So I'm having that struggle, and just what you were just talking about just kind of gave me that light bulb moment. Well, wait a minute, the feedback I'm getting is people are sometimes confused.
I mean, it's interesting as you're talking, because I think, well, first off, social media is just hard like that because it doesn't file itself well. So like, even if you did a great post on how to do this, it's going to get buried. And, you know, that's just the reality of it. But what interested me when you were talking was the way that you vocalized those questions, because you said they were confused, and that must mean that you're coming across as confusing. When you read that, you read a tone into what they were saying that somehow you're not doing something right, which when you said those actual words without your tone, it just sounds like they just want to know what to do. Like maybe they're not saying you're confusing or you're not giving them the right info. Like maybe they're just specifically asking, like, how do you know how many drops? Like, is there something?
And they're asking for your input too.
I mean, I see those as positive. I don't see those as negative. Those are people that are interacting with you. They're asking you how to use their oils. They want to use them. But sometimes we read our own concerns into it. So it was just interesting when you were saying that you read your own fears and concerns, which was like, you're not coming across well, and you're not, I mean, I know I do that too, but I just wanted to say, like, sometimes we need to reread, like, with a different tone that isn't reading our insecurities into the questions, because I